Mutiny, William's dangerous Charles move causes tensions behind palace walls as the Prince of Wales marks his 41st birthday. Tensions are rising behind palace doors after he pulled a swift one-over on the king. Hello, and a very warm welcome back to LVT News Channel. I think there is one thing I can safely say that neither of us are ever going to do. I don't think we'll ever go out shopping for a gift for a prince, as if the job weren't difficult enough already. Just imagine how much trickier things have become this year for Catherine when it comes to finding something nice for her husband, Prince William, who turned 41 on Wednesday. In the last year, he became the Prince of Wales, and he has gotten his own archipelago of 10 islands, a 52,000-acre real estate portfolio and a trust worth about $1.8 billion on a good day. And also the legal right to any whale carcass that happens to wash up in Cornwall. So I don't really think a bottle of nice cologne or a tie is going to be good enough. As William celebrated his first birthday as holder of the 12th century title, the reality of things is that he also inherited something that very few royals have ever wanted and something which is really not very nice at all. So what all of this means would be an interesting enough story in and of itself. But something is going on in London, something that has never happened before, and that is causing tensions in the world of the royals. Even though William might not be the most exciting type of person, still, he is very trustworthy. He's the #1 good boy, and he is staging a bit of a stealthy rebellion against his father, King Charles. Now, to understand this whole situation, there is one simple thing that you've got to know. Being the Prince of Wales is actually not a great job. Even though it means that the prince is very near the throne, it's still a pretty heavy cross to bear. And it's something that has been making English royal guys' lives a lot more difficult since about 1284. That's when Edward I, also known as Edward Longshanks, got his hand on the 5-2 of Wales. So to be the Prince of Wales also means that you are essentially trapped in limbo for decades, at a time. It carries with a seniority, but no extra power. It carries with it added responsibility for the crown, but also demands a certain fealty to the sovereign. You're supposed to just know how your place is, like some kind of princely geisha. For somebody who is raised to be king, it can be very frustrating. It can be an experience requires one to swallow their pride. But William seems bound and determined to do things his way. He doesn't care what the precedent is. It doesn't matter that he's beginning to look like something of a diet usurper in the late 70s. Charles, the then Prince of Wales, was at a dinner party with the cabinet of the former British Prime Minister, James Callaghan. And he told a story about how a flight attendant had once said to him, "God, what a rotten, boring job you've got." Now, everybody at the dinner, according to the writer Anthony Holden, then laughed appropriately. Charles said, "But no, you don't understand what I mean." She was right. I think what he was really saying was that holding that title is no walk in the park. There is no job description. There's no guidelines for how the heir to the throne is supposed to amuse themselves in the years that they're just waiting. They're waiting for their royal parent to. In the past, being the Prince of Wales typically meant having hot and cold running mistresses, a few VDS, and a serious taste for quail's eggs. Now the biggest problem for these princes was gout, or maybe falling off a horse after drinking too much, or maybe running out of money after buying too many kind of lettuce. And unfortunately for Charles, who loves art, and as we all know, had a thing for a certain mistress, that paradigm shifted a lot in the 20th. Instead of getting to gallivant around Paris with working girls, he got to spend decades of just hanging around the palace, awaiting for a hospital wing to need to be opened. It was in 1058, at the age of 9 years old, that Charles heard the news on the television in his boarding school master study that his mother decided to elevate him to the Prince of Wales. And then for about the next 50 years, he was left to figure out what in the world he was supposed to do with himself. Living a lazy life or being debauchery were not really options, but what exactly could he do? He was expected to work. but not to work too much because he didn't want to overshadow his mother. He was meant to be a senior royal, but also a loyal foot soldier. Charles's Princess Truss was and still is an impressive operation. But still, he spent decades in basically palace purgatory. And now William's turn is upon us. And obviously, he is not wanting to play the same game. In fact, something pretty remarkable has been happening in London that at any other time would have been a lot bigger news. It looks like William is going to stage a far from subtle mutiny, and he doesn't have any intention whatsoever of playing by his father's rules. Now, last weekend was Trooping the Colour. That, of course, was King Charles's official birthday parade. It was Charles's first parade as king and resulted in him actually riding in the grand event, the first monarch to do that since 1980. Really, Charles should have woken up on Sunday to see his face plastered all over the front pages of the news and lots of columns in celebrating his horsey Turnbull. Did this happen? Absolutely. Instead, the Sunday Times, the Telegraph and the Mail on Sunday all led with a new photo of William and his 3 beautiful children. This photo is what they decided to release to celebrate Father's Day. And so it relegated Charles's first trooping to the inside pages. How dare he knock the king off the front page on such an important occasion and something he had been practicing for weeks. So Richard Eden, who writes for the Daily Mail, reported that William's move caused tensions, but it gets even worse.